back. I'm going to try and do a video a week. It's going to prove hard, I think, with having 2 little ones running around now, but I'm going to try because I want to keep up with my YouTube, especially after the success my labour and birth video had. I can't believe it. I think so far it's at 11,000 views. What? My mind is blown. I can't believe that many people have watched it. Yeah, I'm very humbled for it, and I hope it means that my channel's going to grow. If it doesn't matter. It's just, I love documenting our life and having it to look back on in the future. So I just wanted to sit down and talk about my labour and birth, because it wasn't all documented in the video, because it was a whirlwind. I can't believe how quickly everything went. So I thought I'd just do a little sit down and talk you all through it and how things went. Someone's come to join me because he's not happy sitting in his bouncer. So here he is, our little Selby. You're a little Selby boy. He is 3 weeks old today and growing quickly. He is a booby monster. He loves his mama's milk. The health visitor came today, and his weight at birth was 7'5". He went down a bit after a few days, which is normal. He then went up at day 10 to 7'7", so he surpassed his birth weight, which is good, isn't it? And then today, at 3 weeks old, he is 8 pounds and 12 ounces. So he's a little chunker. You're nearly 9 pounds now, aren't you, little man? Yeah. So this is probably what my videos are going to be like for the foreseeable. I'm either going to have Paisley running around in the background, or I'm going to have little man on me, around me. Because he is breastfed, he needs his mama a lot. We have a little joke that we say Daddy's got useless nipples because he can't feed him. But it's funny. Oh, a bit of wind. Oh, is it hiccups? Back to the night where I went into labour. So I was at my friend Robin's house. Myself and my friend Emily were there just for a girly catch up. And my belly was, well, for a few days actually, my belly had been going really hard. And I'd been getting a few pains in like my lower back, but I just put it down to Braxton Hicks because I had them quite a lot throughout my pregnancy. And we joked and said, imagine if my waters went all over Robin's lovely rug in her house. And yeah, we were just joking around. And I said how I'd been getting, like, my bump had been hurting for a few days, and I'd been having baths like 2-3 times a day to try and ease the pain a bit. And I was in bed saying goodnight to the girls after I got home. This was about midnight, and one of them, I think Robin, said, try not having a bath before you go to bed, because if it is early latent labour, you might be slowing it down. And I thought, no, I'm not in labour. I'm going to be 39 weeks tomorrow. He's going to be late. I know he is. And but I took her advice, didn't have a bath, went straight to bed. And me and Ben were sleeping in separate beds for the last week or so, me being pregnant, just because our bed was a lot lower and I couldn't get comfortable and wasn't sleeping very well, so I was sleeping in Kira's bed. So yes, said goodnight to the girls, said goodnight to Ben, and then I was playing solitaire on my phone, as I do every night. And I thought, oh, I need to go and have one more wee before I go to sleep. Rolled over, and right down in my bits I felt, and it was a pop and a gush, and instinctively I just put my hands down there to try and catch whatever it was. And I was like, oh my god, my waters have just gone. And I got out of bed, holding myself, walked to our room and said, Ben, my waters have gone. He went, shut up, Hev, you've just wet yourself. And he actually didn't take me seriously. I was like, no, Ben, my waters have gone, love. And so he kind of sprung into action. He was like, okay, what do we do? So made our way downstairs and started making the necessary phone calls. I was on the phone to Labour line and they said to me, are you having any contractions? I said no, because at the time I wasn't. This is about 12:10, I think I was on the phone to them. And they said, okay, well, it could be quite a while yet. So it sounds like it is your waters because it was quite a lot. Whilst on the phone, I had another big gush. It was all over the kitchen floor. Ben got a picture of it for me, bless him. Yes, so because I wasn't contracting, they said, you can come in if you want, we'll just check it is your waters, but you probably don't need to come down to the morning because these things can take a while. So, okay, and I wasn't going to go, just for the ease of having to get everyone up in the middle of the night and down to look after Paisley and get into the hospital. And then, I don't know, just something in me said, no, go get checked. So I even said to Ben, look, I'll drive myself there. I wasn't contracting at the time. He was like, no way, Jose. And then my brother turned up. No, my brother turned up a bit later. Ben's mum turned up to take us to the hospital. Ben was running around gathering all the last little bits like a pillow and makeup. And makeup's not really a necessity, but I felt like I needed it. And then my brother turned up to stay here with Paisley while we were there. By this point, I was having contractions. I started timing them. They were about 3.5 minutes apart, lasting for about 30-40 seconds. And I was like, okay, this is a bit quick considering that they don't think I'm going to be having the baby until tomorrow. And I did start to worry a little bit. I was like, this didn't happen this quickly with Paisley. I was very quick with Paisley, but this is a lot quicker. I was having to grab hold of something and I'm really proud of the way I managed to breathe through them. I watched a few videos on YouTube how to breathe in labour, and that's it. I didn't do any hypnobirthing, which I really wanted to do just because it's so expensive. But I did my own little bit through research on YouTube, and it really helped. Like when they say breathe, listen, because it actually really helps. So we were about to leave, get in the car, and Ben said, bless his heart, he said, go and give Paisley a kiss. And I thought, I'm having contractions every 3.5 minutes. You want me to walk up those steep stairs and kiss Paisley? He said, no, but if anything happens, go and kiss him. And it might sound a bit morbid, but I'm glad I did that. So we got in the car. The contractions were even closer together by the time we got in the car. I couldn't time them because I was too busy having contractions. And I don't know how long it took to get there, but apparently Dave, who dropped us off, drove quite quickly. So we arrived. We were walking into the hospital. I kind of just went ahead because I was like, right, these are about 2.5 minutes apart. I've got 2.5 minutes to get as far as I can before I've got to stop and have another contraction. I managed to make it in between the revolving doors. There's like a revolving door, a little space, and then a revolving door. Excuse you, Mr. Selby. Excuse the tootie pants. So I was in the middle of these revolving doors. They were revolving around me, standing in the middle, leaning against the glass, having a contraction. And then I managed to go from there to the lift, and then the corridor down from the lifts to the maternity ward is really long, but they very cleverly have these bars all along the walls that you can grab hold of when you're having a contraction. So that was really useful. And I had a few midwives pass me on the way down, just like giving me like the knowing smile and look, and it was really nice. But we arrived and I was in a assessment room, and they said, I said, oh, I've got the pads that I had on, if you want to check it's my waters. And they Ben got them out and they were absolutely sopping. And she said, I don't need to check, that's definitely your waters. Like, brilliant. And these contractions were coming about every 2 minutes now. And I got on the bed and they were trying to do my observations, but I just couldn't sit still for them. They tried to do them, but I think they managed to do my blood pressure and feel the baby. And then they wanted to do my internal examination, see how far I was. So they did that and they said, you're already 8 centimetres. And I was like, blimey. I managed to get to 8 centimetres before getting to hospital. And I was really chuffed with myself for doing that. And then my friend Rachel turned up. I've known her for a long time, and we've always said, even when I was pregnant with Paisley, she was trained to be a midwife, and we were hoping she was going to be able to deliver Paisley, but she didn't quite finish her training in time. So I'm so glad she was on shift and was able to take over and help me deliver Selby. Nearly said Paisley then, keep doing that. So Rachel turned up and was asking me when my waters went, and it didn't seem like that much time passed before I started getting that overwhelming pressure and feel like I needed to push. And I've been adamant I wanted a water birth. Not necessarily to push in the water, but I wanted it as my pain relief. And so Rachel had got the room ready, the bath was running, and I say bath, pool. And I was like, Rachel, please, can I have the pool? And she said, okay, but we've got to go now. And she said to me afterwards, I really thought that baby was going to be delivered in the hallway when we were wheeling you down to the labour ward, because bear in mind, I'm still on the assessment ward. I'm not actually on in a labour room or anything like that. And I'm starting to push. And they ruled me down, and apparently it was like Rachel's like, I flung that bed around that corner trying to get you down there just in case. And then we got to the room, the pool was running, and she said, Heather, I can't let you get in the pool now. The doctors would shoot me. Because I've got a previous cesarean scar as well, they need to keep an eye on things. And yeah, I was at the stage of pushing, so it was a bit late. It was no one's fault or anything, just I laboured too quickly. So yeah, there was an hour and a half of pushing. That pain is unreal. You can't describe it. It is horrible. I felt like it was never going to be over. You hear of a lot of people, they push 2 or 3 times and their babies are born. And I don't know whether it's because I was holding myself back or whether it just took him a little bit longer to come down. But yeah, I was pushing for about an hour and a half before he arrived. And there was another lady working alongside Rachel called Sarah, and she was brilliant. She, like, those two as a team, like, if I could pick a perfect team for me to have another baby, it would be them. And I remember in my cloudy mind of gas and air, she said, Heather, you're going to have to jump off the diving board. It's going to sting and hurt like hell, but you've got to jump off and commit. It's the only way your baby's going to come out. And so when she said that, I pushed, and oh my goodness, that was horrific. And I remember screaming, what is that? And they were like, that's your baby's head's out. And I was like, they asked me if I wanted to feel, and I've always wanted to feel, but in that time I was just so exhausted. You got to remember that I hadn't had any sleep because I was going to bed and then my waters went. And then I've been going through labour, and it's not called labour for any other reason that it's hard work. But I got his head out, and then one more push and the rest of his body was delivered, and they lifted him up onto my chest. And I can't really remember what I felt in that moment. I remember thinking, thank God that's over. And just looking down at him and thinking, oh, he's so tiny. But I can't remember much else of that because the only pain relief I had was the gas and air. and I'd used so much of it that my mind was really clouded, and it felt like it took like a good few hours for the haze to wear off. It's really, really odd, but I'm glad for it because I managed to use it properly this time, and it really, really helped. Paisley's awake, you have to bear with me. So immediately after birth, I said to Rachel, I never want to do that again. Whilst I was in labour, I kept saying, I want a cesarean, I've changed my mind. Because I could have elected to have a cesarean because I had one last time, but I always wanted that experience. I'm so glad I had the experience. And I've been told that this feeling's going to wear off, but I'm feeling all brave like I've done it. And if we are to have any more children in the future, I think I would have a natural delivery, because I love that it was so spontaneous, that I got that movie moment of my waters going, and it wasn't just a trickle, it was a gush, a good 2 or 3 gushes. Hey Bubba, you wanna come and sit on Mummy's lap? And the excitement of phoning labour line, because I didn't get to do that last time because I was induced and in hospital right from the beginning. But yeah, just going, yes Bubba, what are you doing? Pointing, Mummy recording a video for YouTube. Yeah. And as painful as it was, and yes, I had to have stitches, I had a 2nd degree tear. They were threatening to do I say threatening, it sounds awful, but they were saying that they needed to do an episiotomy. But I kept turning it down because even in the midst of all the pain I was in, I didn't want them to cause me pain. It's ridiculous how your mind works when you're in labour. But I had that tear, so I had stitches, and it's very quick to heal from a natural birth, a lot quicker than a cesarean. And I was able to do a lot of things that I wasn't able to do after the cesarean. So, if me and Mr. Brookes have any more children, I am going to go for a natural labour again. I may be crazy, and when I actually go into labour, if I do again, I'm probably going to be cursing myself and thinking, what the hell are you thinking? Why are you doing this to yourself again? But it's worth it in the end, and you soon forget it all. They're right when they say you forget it, because you do. What are you doing? But I got to cut his cord. We'd spoken about it before. Ben got to cut Paisley's, and so I asked if he'd mind if I cut Selby's, and he said no. So I loved being able to do that, and Ben said it's like cutting bacon fat, and it really is like cutting bacon fat. That's the only way I can describe it. But yeah, so that's my labour story. I hope I haven't missed anything out. Obviously, between the 2 boys, my mind is here, there and everywhere. So yeah, my waters went, quick contractions, 1.5 hours of pushing, and he was here. From beginning to end, it was just under 4 hours, which is mind-blowing. That's insane, isn't it? Like, my waters went about midnight, about 12:10. He was born at 3:47 a.m. and I was just in shock. I was like, how has that happened so quickly? Like, you hear of everyone. I mean, my labour of Hazy was about 17 hours, and that was from beginning to when he was born. Obviously, I went down for cesarean. I was induced, so some of that time was actually my body going into labour. But I must have been in labour for a few days beforehand to go straight to 8 centimetres. So that is my labour story. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm quite happy to answer them. Very much an open book in that sense. And I will see you guys next week, and there'll be a bit more of the baby. But it was lovely talking to you guys. Can you say bye-bye, Paisley? Say bye!
Bye!